Yeah. So today we'll be discussing about the other important thing. So data structure that we call it is as like a map. Okay. So let me open the paint here. Yes. Okay. So we talked about like collection, right? So collection is kind of like a interface, and collections is like a class, utility class, and this collection is like kind of implemented or extended by the different interfaces. We have is like list, set, and queue, but queue we are ignoring now, and we talked about list and set. Okay, so now we are going to talk about another data structure, that is map. Okay, so map generally contains key and value pair. Okay, so key and value pair. So what are the implementation classes of this map? Like we have implementation classes. So we have implementation classes, which we say that one is like navigable, sorted. Another one is like, here I'm going to write it out. Let's look at this. Okay. So we have like hash map, and we have linked hash map. Okay. So hash map, linked hash map. Another one is like tree map. So before this tree map, we have two things. One is like sorted map. Another one is like navigable map. Okay. So navigable. So these are the two interfaces wherein we are going to, but directly I'm going to talk about like what is the another class which we say is like map, a tree map. Okay. So the another one is like we have a dictionary, but we are not using it anymore. Like we have another thing is like hash table. Okay. So this is like legacy class. Okay. So hash table. So which comes under the part of like dictionary. Okay. So these are the implementation classes of it. Internally, we have like, sorted map. Another one is like navigable map. So these are the two interfaces. So, but these are the classes that we are talking about. Okay. So these are the implementation classes. Another one is like hash table, which is kind of like a legacy class. Okay. So, and the other thing is like maps will have key value pair. Okay. So key and value pair. So key would be like, unique. So whichever thing that we are going to consider as like, unique value, then we have to take this one as like a key. And the value would be like, we can take the value, it can be of a duplicate, or we can have the repeated values. Okay. So we can have repeated value or something. Okay. So if some value is repeated, then that is okay. But key should be unique. For example, if you take any student record, okay, the student will have like 101. His name is like some Srikanth, and 102. His name is like Chandu, and 103 we have Devi, and 104 Kasha, and you can say 105 again we have some Chandu or Devi. Okay, so 10, so there is a possibility, right? So a person can have like a student can have a duplicate name, but student roll number would not be duplicate, right? So this is like we cannot have the duplicate roll numbers, but we can have a student name as like a duplicate name. Okay. So for example, if some employee is working in that employee, like, all the employees would be working in the same office, and they have like, same names also, but employee IDs would be different. Okay. So like if we take about the student will have kind of like, unique roll numbers, but names could be differing. So here in maps, keys would be like, unique, and values can be repeated. And see, for example, one null value can also be accepted. Okay. So if you see this, one null value and one key will be accepted. If you take one key and null value, this is like kind of like what happens in this case is like what it's generally it's going to overhead. Okay. For example, if you see, if I say 101 and Kiran, so what happens is like 101 key value will be overridden. Okay. Key and the value. So it will override this value, and it's going to store this recent value. Okay. So let's look into this and how do we create this maps and all. So with the help of like implementation classes that we'll look into here. Okay. So let me just go here. So we talked about list here. So I'm going to create another package here. maps. Okay. That's a map interface. Inside this map interface, we are going to create a program. Map example. So here, I'm going to create a main method. So in this main method, we're going to take map is equals to, what is the implementation class? Hash map. Okay. So this is residing inside this. You can see the package java.util package. Okay. So it is similar that we have like java.util package. These things will be available under the java.util package. Okay. So we are talking about like collections, right? So collection is like, collection contains, what is collection framework? It's like a single entity, right? So collection framework, if I talk about a collection framework, it's kind of like a single entity. In that entity, what are the things that are considered? List and set. Okay. So these things like list and set would be extending or kind of like, they are extending the collection. Okay. Collection is like it's a super interface. For that super interface, we have another super interface called iteratable. Okay. So iteratable collection, under that collection, yesterday we looked into it, right? So let me just pull that. I think let me just write it here so that it will be easy for us to understand. Okay. First is like we have iteratable. So under this, we have a collection. Under this, we have a list. Under this, we have a set. Under this, we have like, this comes into the same level, but I'm writing it in this one. Okay. So this is like, this is extending this one, and this is extending this one, and this is extending this one, and this is extending this one. Okay. So collection, iteratable, collection, list, set. Under this, we have a different implementation classes. We have array list, linked list, and here we have hash set, linked hash set, and reset. Here we have priority queue, DQ. So these are array DQs. Okay. So these are the different classes that we have as part of implementation. But map is like different. Okay. Map has got a different hash map and linked hash map. And under this tree map, we have two things. One is like navigable map, another one is like sorted map. Okay. So these are the interfaces. Okay. Let me write it down here. Navigable map. Another one is like sorted. Okay. So these are the two interfaces which would be like, wherein this implementation class of this tree map is like two interfaces. Okay. So directly we cannot take it, but here we have like two things which will come as part of like tree map. Okay. So let's get into the API documentation so that we can understand how exactly these things are implemented. Map Java API. See here we have hash map, hash table, tree map. Another one is like linked hash map. Okay. So generally these are like, in classes which are known implemented classes. Okay. So if I take this hash map, you can see what is the hierarchy: object, abstract map, hash map. Okay. So hash map, and we are, if we talk about map, see what is like all implemented interfaces are like map is implementing, like hash map is implementing the map interface. Okay. Which has like key value pair. Okay. So we have another util, another class which we call it as like abstract map. So here this is a kind of a class, and this class has like all implemented is like map, and under that we have a hash map. Okay. So direct known subclasses. Okay. So this is kind of like a parent, and this is like a subclass. So what are the other things that we have as part of like hash map is like, you can see serializable clone and linked hash map. Okay. So direct known subclasses. Okay. Hash map again. If you take this hash map, it is like direct known subclasses. So we can create object for this map using hash map or linked hash map or tree map. Okay. So go back to this and you try to see the tree map here. Tree map will have like two implemented. See what we are talking about is like navigable map and sorted map, right? So these are the two implemented interfaces. Okay. By default, serializable clonable will be there. In the map, you can see map is like super interface. Under that we have navigable. Under that we have a sorted map. Okay. So what they do is like they'll help you to just organize the data. So in the form of like key value pair. Okay, so let's go back to this and try to create some example. So how do we define now? So we have to use a put method. Okay, so put method, and the key is like we are talking about like 101. I'll try to put Srikanth and map dot put 102. Maybe. So I'll try to copy paste these things. So we'll have more entries. Okay, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. 6 entries. I'm going to name it as like Chandu, Darsha, Show, and let's have Devi also. Okay, let's have Devi also. So now we have just created a map and I want to print the map. Okay, so if I print the map, you can see how does it exactly print. See 101, Srikanth, 102, Devi, 103, Chandu, 104, Karsha, and Ashok, and 106 is like Devi. So just it's like it's trying to print. But if you want to see that exactly how these values are stored, okay, so here we are printing this map. But the thing is like when I try to see what is the value of it, or what is the key and what is the value of exact key. Okay, in that case, what I'm going to do is like I'll just use some method called map dot contains key. Okay, so if I give 106, it's going to execute. So it should return a Boolean value here. So it's going to return true because this value is there. Like this key is over here. Okay, likewise, we have another method called sum.out map.contains, and you can give the value map.contains value. Okay, value you can give maybe. Will return true because we have this value here. Okay, now it is okay, but the thing is like we want to print the values, right? So how do we print the values individually? Like I want to see that what is the sequence of what, like sequence or whatever the order, what are the keys we have and what are the values that we have. Okay, not like this. This is kind of like it's going to show you like a kind of a group it is showing, but I want to individually pull out those values. How do I do is like, so here I'm going to use a set is equals to, and we have a map dot, we have entry set. Okay, so what it returns is like it's going to return you the complete set. Okay, so the set is like it's going to, what is that entry set, map dot entry set, it's going to return you this key value pair. Okay, so each key and value is called a entry. Okay, so each key and value pair is called a entry, one entry. Okay, so now you see we got the complete entry. So from here I want like out this set now. So we have like multiple ways that we can retrieve the data from that map. Now I'm going to show you in that. So here what I'm going to do is like I'll take the set dot, we have a iterator. Okay, so iterator, so this iterator is going to return the complete entry set for that. Okay, iterator, and we are going to give itr is equals to iterator. So this iterator should be imported from this package. Now we got the iterator. We are going to use while iterator dot has next. So it's going to return you what it is going to return now. It's going to return you the entry set. Okay, so for that we have a method called, so directly we can see if I take the entry, if I say itr dot next. Okay, iterator has this value, but how do I get this entry, like individual entries from this particular entry set? So we have got a set, right? So from set, I'm going to like, no, I'm just using this set. I'm pulling out this all entry set. Entry set is the sense complete set of this map. Okay, now it is in set. Now from this set, I'm going to send it to the iterator. From iterator, I got this. Okay, so as next is like it's going to see each and every entry here. Okay, so but this entry I have to divide them. I have to make sure like no, I should get the keys and values. Okay, individual I should get the keys and values. For this, what we need to do is like we need to add a method called map dot entry. Okay, map dot this entry interface. Okay, so this what it does is like it's going to get the complete set of it. One entry, I'll say that one entry or ENT. Okay, I'm just giving ENT because we have already taken this. Okay, we did not use the entry set. Let me take as entry set. So here, right here. So when I say this, it has to return this right map. So what we have to do now, we have to cast it to the cast it to the entry set. Okay. So when I say entry, now all the data of this particular set is moved into the entry set. Okay, that's nothing but map dot entry we can use, or entry dot map entry we can use. Okay, map dot entry. If I use map dot entry, that it's coming from the map dot entry. I'll remove this, and after this, I'm going to use entry set dot get key and its value. Okay, so how do I get the value? Entry set dot get value. I see the difference between this and the value that we are retrieving is like, I'll just comment this line so that we can get. See 10s, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106. Okay, so we got the day. See, now we have like these are the unique values, and this is like kind of the value which is like in duplicate. So how this is now displayed? So as we showed here. So let me take the same value as we talked about, right? We are not allowing this duplicate value, right? So here I'm going to give. Observe carefully. What happens in this case is like, see, 101 is replaced. Okay, so because here first it will take this value, and once it finds this 101, what it is going to do is like it's going to replace this value with this value. Okay, so we have a unique key value here, and we were talking about like insertion order, right? So it does not maintain the insertion order. So let me just take it this way. So 101, 106, 105, 106. Then after 101, 102, 104. Okay, let me just jumble here also. So insertion order is like we have a jumbled insertion order. Okay, if we see that hash map does not hold the insertion order. Okay, hash map does not hold the insertion order. Now see. So what is happening? 101, 105. So here what it is displaying 102, 103, 105, 104, 105, 106. Okay, so it does not maintain the insertion order. Okay, so here you see the duplicate keys are not allowed, but duplicate values are allowed. Okay, so duplicate values, we can have duplicate value. For example, here we have Devi, so it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. So what is happening here? So you can see Devi, Devi, Devi. All these are like 3 times repeated, but it's still allowing, but unique values that we have as part of the keys. Okay, so this is one way of retrieving the data from the map, and the other way is like, I'll do one thing. Take void display map 1. Okay, so display map 1. Here I'm going to call it. I'm making it like static because I don't need to create object for this. So here, what I need to do is like I need to pass this map. Okay, so here I'm passing the. So map we got it. Now when you try to execute this, you can see the data is printed in this way. Okay, so let me just comment this line also. So this is like one way of like, we are passing the map, and this map is taken and it is doing some actions on it. Like this method is written to display the values in key value pair. Okay, so now I'm going to use the another method. So here display 2. So I'll remove this. Now I'm going to take, this is like entry set I've taken, right? So what I'm going to do is like I'm going to take key sets. Okay, so key sets, and I'm going to use. So what is a key set that we have? Key set is like a kind of integer that we have. Okay, so I'm not sure like what kind of that what kind of data type that like wrapper class that we have used or object that we have used. Directly I'm taking as like a object here. Okay. So obj and set. So here I'm going to like obj dot, sorry, the map dot get. I'm going to give. This is the first method that we are using, right? So I'm going to take the same thing here. To execute it. What I'm going to get now, we got the values. Okay, get method is used to get the values. For example, if we are sending, this is as simple as like we are sending the key values here. Okay, so this is nothing but 101. Okay, so 101, 102, like this, it will take the key values and it's going to get the values from that particular map. Okay, so this is nothing but it's supplying the key here. Okay, it's supplying the key and we are getting the values here. Okay, so this is one, this is second method. So if you want to get the keys as well, you can just give the object. Go and print it. Now you see, we got the keys also. Okay, so there is another method that we can go and use it. So like third method. So here we are going to use map.entry. Okay, so map.entry, and we'll say that entry is equals to map.entry set. We don't need to use this one. Look, map.entry. Get ent dot get value. We have this entry set. We have this. Okay, so I need to again change it to the. So directly we can write in this way, map.entry, and we can take this one in this part. So this is also works fine. Dot entry, dot entry set. Okay, so we have to give this casting here. So directly we are going to get the entry set. So mismatch cannot convert the element type object to the map entry. Okay. So we have not taken this map entry, and it should be map dot entry set. So in case of generics, it will work, but here it is not generic, right? So we are not specifying anything as part of this. So if I specify it as like generic, then we can print the values, but still it has to print that value, but it is not printing. Let me just keep those generics. Okay, so I'll show you like in another way when we use the generics. Okay, what kind of data that we are trying to put. Because here we are not specifying anything. If, for example, if I say integer string, it should Allow me to do this. It will say the type mismatch cannot convert the element type object to the entry integer set. Okay, so this is like it is treating as like a object there. Okay, it is treating like a object there. So, but still, I can change it as like a map.entry. So when I cast it to the map.entry, it's still not allowing me to do this. Okay, so let me just show you and this other examples. Okay, how do we do exactly when we try to use this? Okay, so generics, in that generics, I'm going to show you the other way. Now you see that we have like two ways. One is like we can just take the set and we can convert this set into the iterator. And from iterator, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to take map.entry because each entry is like each key value pair is like an entry. So that is the reason why I'm going to take it as like map.entry, and from there iterator not dot next what it does. So it's going to return you this. Okay. So whatever we have entry, it's going to return this entry. So this entry is taken now, and we are going to get entry dot set get key is like it will return in the key, and get value is like it's going to return the value. Okay, so this is how we'll be retrieving the data from that map. Okay, so this is for the hash map, and if you take the linked hash map, it is similar, but it's going to retain the insertion order. Okay, so let me take it as like, okay, we have this hash map first. Let me use this hash map example. So this hash map example is like just you have to use this hash map. That's it. Okay, so directly we can create object for that, right? So if you go and execute this, you'll get the value. So map is like you can use map is equals to hash map, or hash map is equals to hash map, that you can use because this is a class and this is the interface. Map is an interface. Okay, so I'm going to create another. So linked hash map. Okay, linked hash map is the child class. Let us take like this is like subclass of this hash map, right? So everything is similar. Only thing is like we have insertion order retained. Okay, so let me go and try to. See what is the order? What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so here what is the order? We have a different order, right? Let me go and execute this. Now you see 101, 105, 106, 103, 102, 104. Okay, so this is like it's going to retain the insertion order. Okay, everything is same. It will not allow the duplicate. It will not allow, for example, if you are adding some null values here. Okay, so let me add null values here. Null. And here I'm going to add some null. Okay, go and execute this. You can see only null one null key is allowed, and one like we can have multiple null values. Okay, so if you say 0, 1, observe carefully. So we have null and we have null value, but key is like only one null key is allowed. Okay, only one null key is allowed. So this is the difference between hash map and linked hash map. Hash map is like it does not preserve the insertion order, but linked hash map will preserve the insertion order. Okay, so let's talk about like some generics. So I'll take the example of this hash map too. Now, for example, if you want to like this is a string, this is an integer and this is a string, right? So if you want to store the data in the form of integer and string, so we can use the generics here. Okay, so string. Take the same thing here. So it is not mandatory in this case if you want to specify it as like, for example, if you take this one as like C 101, it will throw the error because it will say that this is the integer type that you have specified, but you are trying to put the string value. So it will throw the error. Okay. So now we'll try to display 3, and here remove these things, and I'm going to use for map.entry key value pair is like integer, and what is the value that we have is like it's a string dot map dot intercept. Type mismatch cannot convert the map.entry type to the object. So if I say object, oh sorry, not this one, but it is not an object anymore, but it is still saying that we need to convert to the object. This will not work. Directly we have specified entry teacher. We have string defined. Oh, sorry. This is like we have to use map.entry and preset. This is usual. We are specifying this as like entry. So like it should accept this because I'm trying to take the map, right? Map dot, and we are taking map dot intersect. So let me take this one. Why this is not allowing me to do this? Like map dot. We have entry set. We need not to use the key sets here. We can use the entry set here. Why this is throwing the error? Just I'm checking it, guys. So it should not throw the error. It should come like I'm just making some mistake here. So here, rest of the things would work fine. I'll show you like you can see display one, display two. I'll just put some things here so that to differentiate it. Both the cases it is working well, right? One is like say I'm using set, another one is like directly set and iterator, another one is like I'm just using the set and set with the key set. So key set is like directly it's going to take all the key sets. See, set again we are taking it because we don't want to have any duplicates, right? So key set would be returning the complete unique sets. Okay, returns a set views of keys contained in this map. Okay, set is backed by the map. So what it is happening is like it's going to return the complete key sets here based on that. So when you say get, we have to pass the index. Like we index, they are it can we can pass the key also. Okay, so is it showing this error? I'm just checking on it, guys. So it should not throw the error here. We have defined the map set also here, integer and string. Okay, let me just put here in this case, it will accept or not. Yeah, now also it is throwing the error. Why this is not supported? Let me just try completely like not passing any map here. Let me just try to print from here map dot entry set, and I'm going to specify this is an integer value and this is a string value. String I'll say entry and map dot entry set. Now it is coming out. Maybe like there could be some reason like I'm not passing this as like a map entry set. That could be the reason it is throwing the error. Okay, let me just try to print this value here. So entry, I got it. What is the issue? Now you see dot get key value. We have a key here. Key and I'm going to pass it as like So this is another way, guys. Okay, another way of printing, getting the values, get value. So now you go and try to execute this program. So I'll just try to differentiate this place here. So this is generic, guys. Generic in the sense now you can need not to use this one. You can remove this here. Again, it's kind of like it is throwing the error when we are not using any generics. Okay, I'll tell about like what is generic and all. Let me just put it. Otherwise, I can. Now for the printing purpose, I'm just using it. Okay, so I'll talk about like generics and all. So we already discussed, right? So now you see we have the values displayed like using this third method also. Okay, so let me just put this in this. How do we print this value now with help of this? If you are passing it as like a, so here what I'm going to do is like I'll just say it as like display 3 dot entry set. Okay, so here I need to, so it is already creating a method called, so here you can see this is creating a method set entry of entry set. Okay, so set entry of entry set. So here we can take the set entry of entry set, or we can directly so map dot entry set. I'm just passing this one, right? So I'll use this method here. Entry set, and we are trying to, I'll just remove this. I'll say display 3. Display 3 we have already created, right? Let me go and try to print this. There's like class cast exception. Okay. Let me put it as like itself here. ENT, I'll remove this and preset. So we have this integer and the set that we are passing. So here I have just sent it as like map.entry set, and I'll take this one as like if I take this one as like map, then I have to again go and try to create this set of is equals to entry dot entry set. Again, it is asking me to cast to this entry. It is asking me to change the method to display entry set. Okay. I can take the suggestions here. So it is like IntelliSense, it is helping us to take any one of this. So it is asking me to take the set is like set entry set. And from here, I'm going to get the values here. Instead of resolved compilation problem. So this is not the issue. Okay. I need to. It is not asking, it is like still, it is trying to change it to the set. Okay. Don't worry, guys. I'll just look into this. So directly we should get it. I'm trying to just create a method here. So through this method, I'm just passing the map.entry. So this map.entry will be taken as like the parameter to this method, and it should bring the data. Okay. So if you directly, if you want to use it, we can just use this as like a map.entry. Okay. So entry, and you can give the key pair value here. So I like what is that integer or string, whatever it is, we can give it up. So here, what I'm going to do is like map.entry set. I'm getting the entry set here. So after that, what I'm going to do is like I'll just use this system.out m.get key along with the value that I'm. Okay. So there are some things that it's like, it will get complex when I start talking about those things. But now you see what I'm trying to do is like, I'm just using this map.entry set. I can go and try to print the values. You can get the values here. Okay, so there is another method. So when you are trying to pass this as like a parameter to the method, so from there, from that method, again we have to get this as like set integer and string. So from there we have to convert it. So it will become a long process for us. But just to understand for now, how do we print the data? So that we'll be using this way, like map dot entry, and directly you can give the entry set. Entry set is like it will take all this set. And from this set, if you, this is kind of like iterator. Okay, it will take one entry set, it will split the key and value pair. Okay, then again it will take the next entry set, it will keep on iterating until this sets are completed. Okay, so the entries, complete entries are completed. Here it does the same thing. First is like it will take the set. Let's know complete entry sets would be taken as part of like set, and this set is converted into the iterator. Okay, because we need to print it, right? We need to print it. So here also we can use for loop, and from there for loop we can again go and try to change like map.entry set is equals to map.entry iterator or next whatever we are taking. So we have to take is like set.next. Okay, set something in case of for loop. Okay, so from there we can print the values. So these are the three ways, guys. Three ways to print the data. Okay, the other way is like we'll discuss about it. Let me look into this. Why is it like not accepting that and asking me to change it to the different sets of things. Okay, so this is like hash map, linked hash map, and we have another thing is like tree map, right? So tree map is like very simple. So take this hash map here, linked hash map, and just I'll name it as like tree map example. So it is like as equivalent to the tree set. Okay, so as equivalents to the tree set. So when we are talking about tree set, it's like ascending order will be maintained, right? So here I'm going to give it as like a tree map. So I should name it as like a tree map here. Rename it to tree map. So tree map, and this is also tree map. We need to import the package, picture package. Now you see. So you go and try to print the values here. Now, what is the order that it's like earlier when we execute this? So you saw that hash map was showing it in a different way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is fine. Okay. But in some cases, it would be differing. Okay. So when we look into this hash map example 2 or something, yeah, here also it is trying to maintain the insertion order. But here, in some cases, it doesn't maintain the insertion order. You can see 1, 2, see 4, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So this is also fine. And I'll try to add few more things and try to print it now. We'll see if it is maintaining the insertion order. Yes, it is maintaining the insertion order. But let me add few more things like app dot put. So earlier we saw that, right? So 110. Test 1. One, not 3, 116. Okay, just to understand it, so how this will be like jumbled order. Now you see this, right? 112, 113, 116, 101. So likewise, it is printing. Okay, if I take the same data in case of tree map, okay, so let me take the same data in case of tree map. We'll see what happens in this case. Okay, now you go and try to print it. See, insertion order is like it is taking the ascending order. Okay, so in case of linked hash map, it inserts hash map is like it does not maintain the insertion order. Okay, linked hash map, it maintains the insertion order. Tree map is like it's going to take the order in a ascending order. Okay, so default is like it is sorted. It is sorted. So that's nothing but we have implemented navigable and sorted set, right? So navigable is like directly we can navigate to that particular element using the key value. Okay. So key, I mean, just you give the key and you get the value out of it. So this is how we'll be using this. Okay. So if you're like, if your requirement is like you need to maintain key value key value pair. Okay, so as an entry that you can go with the maps, and map also, in this map, if you take the hash map, if you are not bothered about like insertion order, okay, you are not bothered about the insertion order, and you don't want to have the duplicates and null values, like null keys are not allowed, have like only one null key. And in this case it's like no, everything is like a non-synchronous, everything is like a non-synchronous, its performance is faster. Okay, if you are not bothered about insertion order and if you don't want to duplicate, you can go with the hash key. If you're bothered about insertion order and you don't want to have the duplicate keys, you can go with the linked hash map. Tree map is like if you want to have the insertion order, like taken as like a ascending order. Okay, so it should be in a proper ascending order and no duplicates, you can go with the tree map. Okay, so this is all about like maps, guys. So there is one example that I showed you, and I need to come back on this. How do we pass this as like a parameter to the method so that we can just, otherwise we can just pass it as like a map and then take that one as like a map and you can just print the values. Okay, let's try with that approach. Should we go a tree map? I'm trying to the display 3. We'll have a map created here also. What is that? Map. Map. M is equals to it is printing the data. Okay, so this is like we are taking the set and we are trying to print it, right? Let me just try to do it with help of like map dot entry feature string. Still, it is not allowing me to do this. So it is like type cannot convert from element type object to map dot entry type. So it is taken as like an object actually. So let me just take it as like dot get key. So just like return type, what is that returning actually? This map is returning this map dot string integer, right? So I'm taking that one. Let's try to see what is the output for this map entry dot. It should now print the values. Get values. So using map 3. So let me go and execute this. Now it is printing the values. Okay. So the guys, whatever what I've done is like I've taken this one map integer. So because this is returning the, what it is returning is like it's passing as like a parameter, and what we are trying to do is like we are trying to just take that one as like a map integer. So after that, what I'm trying to do is like I've taken the like a map, and this map is taken into this, and from here I'm going to get the entry set. And now you see integer and strings that I'm specifying. This is an integer, key is an integer, and string is a value. From there I'm going to get these values. Okay, so now we could able to see that we can able to print the values using the third method also. Okay, this is the first method, second method, and the third method. And we have another things which are like kind of cursors that we use, but that is all for the legacy classes. Okay, don't worry about all these things. Now we'll try to create a program to identify the number of times the particular string is repeated. Okay, so count times string It's okay. So what we are trying is like our problem statement is like, now we want to count the number of times the string is repeated. Okay. So for this, what I have to do? I'm taking a string str is equals to Srikanth. I'll just write Sri Devi Chandu So Devi. Okay, now it should show me that Sri is repeated 2 times and Devi repeated 1 time, Chandu repeated 1 time. Okay, so Ashok repeated 1 time. So likewise, it should context. Sri is repeated twice and Devi repeated once and Ashok and Chandra repeated only once. Okay. So for this, what we are going to do is like, we are going to take a map and we are going to take the string. Why I'm taking the string here is like keys is like, I don't want to make it as like a duplicate. Okay. So key should be unique and integer, like, whatever the value that I'm putting as like integer can be repeated, because this is a count and this is a key is a value. Okay. Key is like is a string value. Okay. String whatever we are taking, and integer is like value that will be incremented. Okay. The count will get incremented. Map is equals to new hash map. So here I need to import. Okay. So for this, what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to use a for loop here. And inside that for loop, what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to take map.entry. Map.entry. So this is entry is like, see, what it is like a map entry key value. The entry may be unmodified or the value may be modified. Okay. So modifiable if the optional set value modified. So it's simply what it does is like, it's going to return, see, the type of key and the type of value. So integer and whatever we are putting as the key and value, so that will be maintained here. So it will be maintained in the form of like one, see, entry set view. So what it does is like, it's going to manage, it's going to maintain it as like a one entry. Key and the value will be maintained as like a one entry. Okay. So for that reason, we are taking this key entry as like a storing the value. And from here, I'm going to take entry. I'll say entry and a map. Okay. Map dot entry set. We are going to store this value as part of like entry set. Now, if entry dot contains so whatever we have is like map. Okay. So we need to check this one. Okay. Sorry. We need to check. Map contains the key. Okay. So if it contains the key, whatever key we are taking as like, if you have this entry, okay, if it contains the key, then what I'm doing is like, I'm not going to, if it contains the key, okay, if it contains the key, I'm just going to increment the value. Value is like, I'm going to increment the map value here. Okay. So what is that I need to increment? This is the value that I need to increment. Okay. So this is the string, this is the value. So value I'm going to increment. So how I'm going to do this is like map dot put. So whatever I have like entry dot get value. So here then map dot get entry dot get. So get value I'm getting it is like dot get object. Whatever object that I have is like map dot entry get value this one. Cast it as like a string. Okay, so this is a string get value and get is like get entry value. So here I'm going to get the value here. And see, once I get the value, so what I'm trying to do is like I'm getting the value and appending one value to it. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is like I'm getting the value of it. What is the value, existing value? So if we have like something set as like one for this, so that let me just take this like if I say just making it as like entry set dot. So initially, what is the value of this one actually? So if you don't specify anything, it will be like 0. Okay, 0 plus 1 is like it will be 1. So else what I'm going to do is like map dot put take this one completely and I'm going to, if it is not there, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to put sorry, I'll just get the value of it. Get entry dot get value. So here I'm taking it. So I'm just trying to take this value. So otherwise, what we can do is like we can take the another approach also. Let's try to print the value here for this. So all the values, whatever we are getting is like first, what is that map? So map is like it is like empty map. Okay. So empty map that, oh, I need to take the strings here, right? So if I'm not operating it, so what is happening now? See, what I'm checking here, I'm taking this, but what I print is like, I print it like, empty set, I'm just printing it. Empty values, empty map, I'm printing it. So what I need to do is like, I need to check for the string, right? So whatever the string that I'm having it. So one string at a time that I need to take. But here, what is this? This is a string array. So to rotate it, what we have to do? What we have to do in this case, we have to take string, right? So I made a mistake here, but you're not observing. Okay. So here it is like kind of an array. But here what I've taken the map. Okay. So observe carefully, guys. So that is what we have to do here. Str and here CR. Okay. So now I'm going to count it. Yes. And if you have this entry here, then we have to put it. Okay. I'll change this one. Okay. How do I put this one now? Map dot put and map dot if this key contains. Okay. So initially what I'm trying to do is like if it contains a key. Okay. If it contains the key value, and then what I'm going to do is like I'm going to just increment that one. Okay. So increment in the sense what I have to do now? What I have to do now? I need to increment that value. If I have that value as a key, I need to increment that value. If I don't have that value, then I need to add it. Okay. So to add it, what I'm going to do is like, just give me a second. I'm getting a call. Hello. Yes. Give me 1 second, guys. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm back. Okay. So now what we need to do is like if that map contains a string. So what I need to do, I'll be putting that string. So that is nothing but here's dot. I need to get map dot get object. So here what I'm trying to do is like get object of +1. Okay. So it's like I'm just putting the value as like a string and I'm just trying to get the index of it. Okay. Get as in the sense what it is like, it's kind of like object that I'm passing. If it is there, if it is already there, what it is like, it's going to get me the value of it. Okay. So value of it. If its value is like 1, it's going to increment the value. Otherwise, it's going to just what I need to do is like I need to repeat the same thing. But here I'll be adding as like map.put. Sorry, I'll just add it as like 1. So here dot put string, yes. But here, what is that? I need to do it now. Get. It is putting. I need to put only value. Get of 0. Say put again. So what is happening? It is expecting one value to be added here. Okay. So directly I can put here the value as like yes, comma 1. Okay. So here we got this now. So how do we print this? So we are going to use map dot entry and it is like integer. And we are going to have the string and integer. String and the integer. So whatever we have is like m, and the map, it is like already storing the values here, right? So map dot intercept. So earlier I've taken that map. So I did this like logic. What the logic I've written first is like I try to print the values, but what we have to do is like we have to take one string at a time and we need to check if map dot contains that key. What it does is like it's going to increment that value. Map dot get. So whatever value we have here. Okay. So get test in the sense. So if I take like the strings, right? String is like it's going to get that value. And whatever value that we have here. So get as is like its value is like 1. 1 plus 1, it will become 2. If we don't have any value, then what I'm doing is like I'm just putting that string here and I'm just giving the value as like 1. Okay. So next time when we see that, for example, if we are adding this first time, so what it is doing is like it will take this value and it will check for this contents. If it is not there, then it's going to put it and it's going to put the value as like 1. Okay. Key is 3 and value is like 1. We'll take the Devi. Here also it is, we don't have any value. Okay. So it's going to put the Devi and it's going to put the value 1. Then it's like Chandu and 1. So Ashok 1, 1. So now Devi, we got it. Okay. So we have that. So what it is like it will try to put this key, but key will not be repeated, right? So it will be a unique. So it will be like overriding this value and map dot get 1. So get yes in the sense what is the value of Devi? It is 1. 1 plus 1 will become 2. Okay, so Devi 2. 2 times it is repeated. Like we'll see, it will say that it's 2 times repeated. Now we are going to see what is the output of it. So we'll see that I'm going to give a name as like m dot get key. I'll write here repeated. We have many ways that I try to just show you in a simple way. So we can do it in many ways. Okay. So, it's not only this way, we can put it like whatever way we want to have, like you can take the strings, iterate the strings, then after you can convert this one as part of like split them, convert them into the array, then after you can take these values and try to change the logic. Okay, I'll show you like another way also. So we'll try to print these values and see what is the output that we are getting. See, Devi repeated 2 times, Chandu repeated 1 time, Sri repeated 1 time, 2 times, and Ashok repeated 1 time. Earlier, sorry guys, what I did is like I thought like I can put this one as part of like map and try to print it. But the thing is like I just realized that I need to take the strings. I did not take the strings and I'm trying to print the values. Okay, so this is one way. Another one is like just you can simply change this. So when this is like it does not contain the value, you can just change it from here to here and you can exchange this. Okay, so this is all up to us. Like, how do you write the code? Okay, so now you can go and execute this, you can get the same value. So same thing is what it has shown here. So if you want to see that number of times it is repeating, then also you can go and try to use it. Now you see, it will change it. So Devi repeated 4 times, Chandra repeated 2 times, Sri repeated 4 times, and Ashok repeated 4 times. Okay, I'll simply explain it again, guys. So I've taken a string here, string of array string. So then after I try to take this one as like the string would be like key, because I don't want to repeat that particular, I don't want to have the duplicate values here. So this is like string integer I'm taking is like I want to increment its counts. Whenever it is like it is found for the next time, then I want to increment it. So for this, what I'm doing is like I'm iterating through this for loop. Inside this for loop, what I'm trying to do is like I'm checking the map here. Map contains key, yes. Okay, so the string that whatever I'm taking, if it does, here I'm returning it, I'm writing it in an inverse way. Okay, so it's like it does not contain, then what it is like it's going to put it and it will put the value as like 1. So whenever it contains, for example, Sri is coming here, right? So what I'm trying to do is like I'll check it here and it says us yes, it comes that we have the key here. So if key is there, I'm just trying to put it again and I'm trying to increment the value. So what is the value that I'm going to get? M dot, if I say map dot get yes, so it will return you the value 1. Okay, because we have already inserted this Sri as like key and the value as like 1. So now I get the, if I say map dot get, it will get me this value of that key. Okay, it's nothing but it's a key value actually. Okay, so the value that I'm expecting out of this key. When I say map dot get key, it will get me the value. Value plus 1 is like it will become 2. So likewise, it will keep on incrementing whenever it finds the duplicate key in this particular string. Okay, and from here I'm going to print it. So earlier I tried to print something like I use this technique and I try to check whether that map has the value or not. Okay, so instead of doing that, I'm trying to do in this way. Okay, this is like feasible approach wherein you can just go and get the key values which are values which are associated with the key or duplicate. Okay, so the other way is like we already looked into the strings, right? So if we have like strings to string comparing, okay, so this is one way. So this is an interview question, guys. Okay, this is a very important interview question. So I'll repeat it again in the other ways, so you can just understand. Public void find duplicate strings. It as like a static so that we can use everywhere. Here what I'm taking is like string picture. Already we have defined it, right? So I'm taking just like a map. This is one approach. So we'll try to execute this and see what is the output. We got the output, right? So here I'm going to write another. Follow one approach that you can easily print the values. This is like we can use some maps and we can print these strings. I'm taking another thing is like so here I'm going to take int I is equals to 0, I is less than str dot length I plus plus. So here I'm going to take count equals to 0. And I'm going to use this for loop here. J is equals to I plus 1. Okay, just we want to compare it, right? So first to if I try to compare the same string with the same string, it will count it. So instead of doing that, I'm just taking the another string. Okay, so here A is less than here of B is equals to str of J. Okay, so last we discussed it, right? So equals this is a parameter that we have. If it is matching, then what I'm going to do is like I'll increment the count. Okay, so increment is the count, and I'm doing is like str of J is equals to what I will do is like I'll assign some values so that we can just ignore this when we are counting it. Okay, so when we are trying to count. So here we are done with this. So after this, now you see first one is like it's going to check if this value is equal to string value. String and string are equal. In that case, we are incrementing it. And again, we are just making that value as like dollar because we are not going to count that dollar at the next time. See, we are comparing this, taking this value and comparing. So if this is matching this, I'm making it as like a dollar. Okay. So after this, the first iteration is like I'm taking like first loop, for loop is like I'm taking the value one at a time and just trying to compare. And second for loop is like I'm just taking the value starting from the Devi and directly I'm checking all the values here. Okay. So after this, I want to print the values. So here I'm going to check it as like if str of I is not equals to dollar and percent, sorry, not dollar and percent, and count is greater than 0. So then you go and print the value. str I. I say that str I repeated count. So let's go and try to print this also. Okay, so here it is showing like repeated once because I'm just putting count is equals to 0. Here if I say count is equals to 1 and here greater than 1. Now this is 3 repeated 4, they repeated once, Chandra repeated 2. Okay, there are like multiple ways that we can do. So here we are using the strings directly and here we are using the map. Okay, so only simple logic is like here we are trying to use check the map whether that key contains or not. If contains the key, then we are going to increment it, or if it doesn't contain the key, then we are just putting the value here. Okay, so earlier I thought like I can show you another way, but that would be like a little complex. First we are checking the map. After that map is not there, then I'm going to put the same formula over here inside for loop. Okay, so it's kind of like iterations I'm doing over the map. If it doesn't contain anything, I'm just going to make that map empty, and after that I can put the values. Okay, so these are the two approaches for finding the duplicate strings, guys. It's only not limited to the strings. We can take another things also. So for example, if you want to take the character, so that is also quite possible. Character. Okay, so now you can take single character at a time and you can print the values. Okay, so that's all up to us. Like, how do you want to check that one? Okay, so these are the two approaches, guys. With this, we have completed the core Java. So along with these things, and yesterday I was talking about few things, right? So which were not working. I'll show you that one. Collection framework list. So collection examples. So we try to copy this, right? So what we need to have is like we need to have this two sets of data. Like for example, if we have this, what is the size of this? Let me just reduce the size to 2. Now, if I need to copy this collections, okay, so from A1, AL to AL1. So in this, what we need to have is like we need to have some collections created. See here I'm putting 1 and here I'm putting 2. So if I say collection copy dot collections dot copy, then what it will check is like it will check we have a two sets of array list here. Okay, so array list and array list. So we have this array list, and if you are defining this first array list, so we have some set of data here, right? So we have some data here, and we want to copy it to the other array list. Other array list should have the same set of like the indexes. Okay, so the indexes, because we need to store the values into that particular indexes. Okay, so for that we should have some size which is already defined for this AL1. Okay, so now if you go and try to print this AL1, and we'll see what happens. So it says like source does not fit in the destination. Okay, so let me just remove this. So what is happening now? You can see C and Devi. Okay, so which are like kind of data which is fit into it. So what it will do is like it will check copy, will check for this indexes. Okay, so we should have like both indexes defined here. For example, if you have more indexes in this case, so we have 3. Okay, size, the size of AL1 is greater than AL2. So what is happening now? It is like replacing the first two. Okay, so it will replace the values based on the indexes. That is the reason why it was throwing the error. The other thing is like yesterday we were not able to see that collections dot frequency collections dot remove, right? So why it was not working is like, so we did not put that like collection dot singleton list. So we did not put this, and we were trying it directly. Okay, so what I mean to say is like, see, if for example, what is that exactly you want to remove? You are saying that you want to remove the null values from that particular array list, but you are not specifying it. Because collections dot singleton list. Now you see when I just execute it, what it does is like still we have null values. We are not using any remove method. So for that, what we have to do is like we have to use al dot remove. Remove. What do you want to remove is like we have to specify al dot remove collection collections dot singleton class. Okay, so now what it does is like al dot remove, wherever you find the null values in that particular array list, it will remove it. Okay, so now you see here, you can see the difference at the end. Okay, so when you execute this, you'll see the null values will be removed. So why it is not removed? Al dot. Let me just see that why is it not removed? Okay, remove all, sorry. I used a remove, right? So remove would be like removing this one. So I'll just use it as like remove. There are a lot of methods, guys. So that is what we have to remember. Say removal will remove this. Okay, so null values will be removed. If you say remove, so it should remove this. At least like one null value should be removed, but what it's saying like it's showing some error. Unlikely argument list objects for say collection of strings. Actually, it's looking for the string, but it should remove it. Let me check why this is like it should remove. Okay, so remove. So directly you can put, if you want to remove this one, you can remove this one. So first occurrence will be removed, right? So first occurrence will be removed. But in case of like, if you want to remove all the elements at a time, so why do we use this collections dot remove? Removal is like, I'll tell you. So if you are finding out some drop downs, okay, in the drop down, we have a lot of values, hundreds of values. Some values may be null. Okay. So null values are empty values. In that case, what we do is like, we are just going to put this one as like, Hello, guys are able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sorry, there was a power disconnect. Okay. So what happens in that case is like drop downs will have some null values. Null values are sometimes in empty spaces. In that case, what we do is like we are going to use this removal. Okay. Collections of singleton. What it does is like it's going to remove it. Okay. For example, you see, I have some null values here. So before removing this, I want to just print them. Okay. So there's a problem here because we have more here and we are trying to print it here. So I'll just comment this one also. It does not match this, right? So it's like array index out of ones. We have more values here and we have less values here, less indexes. Okay. So that is the reason why we are not able to copy it. If you have equivalent, then it will copy that. The size is equal, then it will copy. See what is happening here? You see this null values? After using this al dot remove all the spaces, then let's go and see what happens here. So it removed, right? Okay, so that is the reason why we use this collections dot singleton list. So this is for removing any one of the spaces that we have. Okay, so we can use this for removing the unwanted data. And here also we looked into rotation, we looked into the reverse, we looked into swap, sort, and copying. How do we copy data? We have something. Let's go and add the empty values here also. You will happily copy it because we have more number of indexes available in the destination. Sources not fit. Let me add some value here. 4, 5, 6, 7. Scale is considering as like empty spaces. Oh, AL1. I need to add AL1. I've added AL. So that is the reason why it is showing the error. Let me go and okay. Now you got it right. So how do we copy this? So this is how do we remove this and all? Okay, this is all about like collections, guys. Okay, collection framework we have discussed, and we have discussed maps also. So sorry that I just tried to explain you in detailed way of counting the number of times the string repeated. So okay, like you can try on your approaches, like whichever approach you want to try, you can try. So this is like one of the approaches. Okay, so one of the approaches that you want that you can count. The other thing is like we have strings also. Okay, so we have string programs also. In interviews, if they ask you to write this, find the duplicates or remove the duplicates. In that case, you can use this. Okay, so remove the duplicates. How to do it now? Just try. Okay, so if you don't have the value, then we are putting it. Okay, if it is repeating for the next time, then what we are going to do? Shall we use some some kind of like remove dot object? Yes. It will remove that object. Okay, let's go and try to print it. What happens in this case? All the repeated objects are removed. Okay, so first time it will see. If it is not there, it will add it. If it is like repeating for the next time, then it will remove that. For example, I'll try to add something called 1, 2. So what is happening here? 1 repeated 1, 1, 2 repeated 1. So it is putting that value which is not duplicate. Okay, and removing all the rest of the duplicates, which are like duplicates, it is removing. So all C repeated, everything is repeated. So it is, if you want to hold only the unique values, then you can use this also as dot remove. So it's going to remove like map dot remove, it will remove that. Okay, it's all up to us. How do we define the logic here? Okay, so with this, I conclude that core Java is completed, guys. So from tomorrow, probably we're going to start with the Selenium. Okay. So do you have any, if you have any doubts or anything, so you can chat me. You can, send your charts or you can chat with me in WhatsApp. Okay.
So, have any WhatsApp groups?
Yeah, we have a WhatsApp group, right?
Actually, I'm not adding that group, sir.
Okay, you can let Ashok or not Ashok, but Vishwa sir, you can talk to Vishwa sir and get yourself added to that WhatsApp group.
Okay, sir, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Let's meet tomorrow with the new topic. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.